So tell me about these complexes you fucking have.
I don't have any fucking complexes.
I mean, I heard you really dig when somebody burps in your mouth.
I don't understand the appeal.
Why? Well, then why do you like it if you don't understand the appeal?
Well, I don't know that I like it or not.
Oh, you haven't had it done before?
I've never had it done before.
Wow, you're very vanilla.
What if someone eats something really gross?
I mean, so for some people, that might make it more hot, and for others, they might be like, no, it has to taste fruity or something, or minty or something that I find appealing. Whereas,
is this a thing though? Do you think it's a thing?
I mean, everything's a thing. If you can think it up, it's somebody's fetish somewhere.
All right.
That's what I've learned about life.
Well, I'm not gonna like kink shame or anything like that. I just don't know that it's for me.
I mean,
it might be. I've never tried.
I mean, I don't know. I guess you just got to go out and live a little.
Yeah.
I mean, what was that on South Park that Randy Marsh jerked off to? It was Brazilian fart fetish porn.
Yes.
Yes. And then when they found him having beat off everywhere, he said it was a spooky ghost that went through and there was ectoplasm everywhere. Brazilian fart fetish porn.
Oh my god.
Anyways.
Anyway.
I heard you looked at an apartment yesterday.
Oh my god, I looked at 2 apartments yesterday and it was the most horrific thing of my life.
Go on.
So I don't know what's going on with renting these days. I mean, I haven't had to go look for a new apartment in 7 years. Anytime I've done it in the past, I've found one immediately the same day and, have been told I'm moving in that same day.
I mean, you also had different mediums in finding apartments compared to today, I would assume.
I mean, this one, I found on Craigslist.
Yeah. Yeah,
So,
I found my last one on Craigslist, too. That was a long time ago.
Not a big deal, but, like, the one before that on College Street, I found an actual newspaper.
I remember, didn't they used to have apartments for rent in Uncle Henry's?
Probably.
Is Uncle Henry's still a thing?
Maybe I should be looking there.
I mean, maybe. I mean, you'd get you'd probably get more honest people in there if they're still, or old timers that just have to still do it the old fashioned way. My grandfather would get Uncle Henry's like every week, and so would my dad for the longest time. I don't know.
So,
I'm sure some local hardware store has them still.
Well, things have definitely changed in these 7 years. Apparently, you cannot just do a private showing with anybody anymore. You go to wherever this place is, and at the said time the showing will be, there's a huge congregation of people.
Yes.
And so the first one I went to was on Newberry Street, and everyone
New Auburn, right?
In New Auburn. Everyone was just kind of like looking at me funny while I was waiting there. And then I figured out that they thought I was possibly the person showing them the place.
Is that because you're wearing your work clothes?
Because I was wearing my work clothes.
And dressed nicer than everyone else there?
I dressed nicer than the actual realtor there. So that's my life.
You honestly should have just gotten out and been like, sorry, I'm late, guys. This is the apartment. And just, I'm
going to keep that in mind for, next time.
That would have been hilarious.
I'm going to show up early. I'm going to be all dressed up. I'll dress up even more. And then I'll tell people I can't show it to them so that they can't look at it. And it'll only be me looking at it.
And, bring in a manila folder because that looks very professional. Inside there'll be some, Word document that you made with boxes for people to write in, and you would have to tell them, okay, if you want to apply for this, put your name here, your email for me to send you the application, and you need to put your social security number right here. I can't take this unless you put in your social security number. I'm sorry.
All right. So
I bet it would work.
Yeah.
I'm not advocating for identity theft. Allegedly.
So I finally get into the place on Newberry Street, because they're always late to their fucking showings. And this place, literally, there was just chipped paint everywhere.
Yeah.
It was lead paint city. And from the pictures, on Craigslist, it looked very different from what was going on inside. It was just terrible. There was a fake fireplace for no reason.
Did you tell me it looked like it was painted on?
It was painted on.
It wasn't real brick.
No, or they painted over the brick, and I don't know why. It said in the actual ad that it had been recently painted, but I don't think that's even possible. it was very akin to this apartment I had on Sand Hill in Augusta when I was like a teenager, and that one was really bad. So I'm not really sure what would have possessed them to charge almost $900 for this place. Like literally the bedrooms were as big as, well, I don't even know, like a little bigger than my bathroom here. Like the closet here, this closet is bigger than some of the bedrooms.
This closet is a rare find. I bet there's like very few closets like this in Lewiston, Auburn.
There's probably very few closets like this in the world.
I still can't get over the fireplace because you sent me that picture and I'm just like, what is this? Because it's not even like a fireplace that has an opening in it to make it look like a fake fireplace. No, it just looks like somebody sloppily painted brick on in just this weird part of the room. It's not even like a place you'd put a fireplace if you were a sane person, and it's just jutted out all funny, and it's like a huge eyesore.
Right, it was just terrible. Like you couldn't even do anything with it. So there's that.
I'm sure people were clamoring to apply for it.
Oh, people were. They were all like, there was like this little divider thing that had like a little, like, it was like an island, or you could put bar stools there. Oh yeah, they were like all fighting over it.
Oh my God.
Like, I don't know. I mean, I put myself on the list because I didn't want to feel bad that I thought her place was shitty. I didn't fill anything out. I just put my email address.
I would want her to feel bad. Like slumlords like that should feel bad. They should actually be drug out into the street and run over multiple times.
But it was really interesting to me. Everyone was really impressed with how prepared I was because I had my own pen in my purse.
Oh my God. I hope that landlord catches bed bugs from everyone that showed up.
Yeah. Like, oh, wow, that she's pretty next level, carrying a pen.
Carrying a pen, like, what's next, she'll...
I write my checks out with it.
Yeah, Jesus.
So I was in and out of there. I spent more time waiting outside to be let in than I was actually in the unit.
This is the sad part, because you're like, well, how can they expect to get away with doing stuff like this? And if all these people didn't have low standards and weren't clamoring to accept situations and apartments like these, like, yes, I'll take this giant piece of shit that hasn't been serviced in like 16 years. If people weren't that desperate, then they wouldn't get away with doing shit like this.
Right.
I have never been to a group showing for a rental. Every apartment rental showing I've been to was always private. Every single one.
Yes, same with me up until now. So next one, I thought like nobody was going to show up for it. It was really great until the last 5 minutes when a whole giant, like, again, congregation of people like show up at this unit. Which was a lot smaller than it led on to be in the pictures. And the landlord appeared to be psycho.
Psycho in what way?
Just like completely nuts and like claiming she wasn't a slumlord even though it says she is on the internet. I mean, I couldn't find it on the internet. I looked immediately.
Oh, you looked her name up?
I looked immediately.
If you've ever looked my name up... I'm being called a slumlord, but I want all of you to know I am not a slumlord. I feel like that's a really bad sign if that's how somebody opens their introduction to you.
Yeah. So I wasn't there that long either.
How was that apartment? Slummy?
Too little.
Too little?
Too little. One of the bedrooms had like no like good feng shui to it. Mm-hmm. You couldn't even fit like a bed in there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It was like a twisty like L shape.
I'm trying to picture it, but that does not sound very appealing.
So you go in, and on one end there's like a closet, so you can't put the bed there. And then it's narrow, so you can't put a bed there either. And then on the other side, you have the same situation where you're covering up a closet.
Well, you know what most people do. They either just sleep on a yoga mat or a hammock in there, or they'll put the bed where the living room's supposed to be and just make the 2 bedrooms their storage spaces at the end.
What?
No, did you not hear me?
What?
Oh my, never mind.
I mean, I can't judge if that's how someone wants to live their life.
I mean, I'm just assuming everyone here is a pack rat or is just like, ooh, this wonderful apartment. And
I mean, I hang out in a fucking closet.
I mean, yes, but this is a better place to record than most places. Like, this is a better place to record than people's houses because this closet, while it is a big and roomy closet, it's big enough to do this, but it's still small enough to feel, like, cozy. Mm-hmm. And I'm able to think better. I think better in more confined spaces, so I'm not going to fucking bitch about this.
No, I really like this closet. Like, I don't know. This whole thing, like, is the craziest thing ever right now. And, like, completely disappointing. I want not shitty apartments to, like, appear. So, like, on the way home from that showing, I passed a whole bunch that had signs up, and it come to find out that particular landlord just always keeps the signs up so that you're constantly checking for availabilities.
Oh, even if it's not
Yeah,
actually.
they only actually have properties open in Portland right now.
Oh.
But he owns all of those.
That's pretty slimy marketing.
Yeah.
You know, I have been looking from time to time at the rent prices, and it's pretty astonishing because I remember when an apartment in Lewiston would go for like $500 or $600 a month.
Yep.
And in a decent area too. I remember like certain apartments you could get for like $400 and some change, but now it's like, oh, you want a 1-bedroom, $800. And I remember like my first 1-bedroom in Portland was $800. Now it's like, if you want a 1-bedroom in Portland, it's like, depending on where you are, it's anywhere from $1,000 to $1,200. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't seem like it's too much cheaper here.
No,
like,
I mean, I've even looked at Portland as well, but like for a 2-bedroom or whatever, that's like minimum like $1,500, and then you're paying for additional parking spaces, and then for some reason you're going to end up paying for heat.
Yeah.
Because that's not included, which is really weird to me. And then you want to have a cat, here, another $300.
Yeah, I was talking with somebody that was looking for apartments in Huntington Beach, California, and what they were finding is a cat deposit there was $500. It's like, what the fuck? Like
Why?
50 or 100? Like, okay, yeah, sure, but 500.
500.
And 1-bedrooms there are like $2,900 a month. Like, how are you making ends meet?
That doesn't even make any sense.
I mean, somebody else told me that Huntington Beach is a more ritzy area, so I guess that has something to do with it. I guess if you work some menial job in Huntington Beach, you must commute there. That's my only thought process behind it. But
right.
Geez, just how? I don't understand. Like, even here in Lewiston, where there's like no jobs, no good paying jobs, how are people surviving?
So from what I understand, and this is just what I've heard, I have a friend who lives out in LA with his wife. And
what
they
part
have
of
2
LA
kids.
do you know?
I am not 100% sure.
Okay.
Like, it's like in a better area.
Okay.
Like, they're not like living in the ghetto or anything like that.
Yeah, I hear really mixed reviews about LA.
But they're doing fine. They have like a decent apartment and everything. And I talked to them about it. I'm like, how is it out there? Is everything like really expensive? And it is, but apparently it just like they pay you more out there, so it balances out.
Yeah.
I mean
that I could understand, but it doesn't seem to be that way. It seems to be like cost of living is higher than what you're earning in most places.
And I mean, they just have like office jobs and stuff like that. I think like my friend like became like an apprentice plumber or something like that recently. Like, I think he changed jobs or something.
It's a good trade.
But like, yeah, they just had like regular office jobs and stuff like I do, and it's still pulled it off. So who knows?
I don't know. And now people are like, well, maybe I should just, buy a house. But even those prices are insane. Like, not even 10 years ago, a good house like outside of Lewiston, Auburn was like $120,000. Mm-hmm. Good luck now. Like, if you're lucky, it's like 180, 190.
Yeah. I mean, my sister, she bought hers. Granted, it is in theory a double wide. It is what it is.
It's a trailer.
Well, sort of.
Glorified trailer.
It's like, yeah. But it's like big. I don't even think it's like a trailer. I think it's just like modular.
Like a modular ranch house?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's not a trailer. A ranch and a trailer are two very different things. Let's be clear here.
Yeah. So it's like a modular like ranch home. And it's decent. Like it's built on a hill, so the underside of one part of the basement is a garage, and then the other side's like a proper basement. She has like 7 acres. A lot of it's just woods though.
Yeah.
And I think she paid like 80.
That's not bad at all.
Yeah. Wasn't bad. I mean, like, it has its like issues now from like it was empty for so long. And she is in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's the downside. But you know what's funny is I was just like, well, let me just take a look at houses in like middle of nowhere, Maine. They must not be that much money anymore. No, it's still pretty expensive, all things considered.
Right. Unless
so your sister must have got her her house a long time ago.
It was like 5 or 6 years ago at this point.
Oh, okay. Well, that was before the market started to really climb, I think.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Be nice if the bubble bursts. It'd be wonderful.
Yeah, because like the only place that's like affordable to buy right now is, you know, nowhere anyone wants to be. So like Presque Isle or Livermore Falls.
Yeah. Oh, my guitarist is going to a wedding in Presque Isle, and he has a +1, and he can't find anyone to go with him because the person who invited him was like, why can't you get anyone to fill your +1? He's like, well, they're all interested until I tell them exactly where it is, including my wife. So yeah, never go to Presque Isle. I've never been, but I've heard very terrible things.
So I went one time.
Oh God, of course you have.
One time. So when I was the summer before I was a senior, I went to Upward Bound over at Bowdoin College, which was pretty freaking cool.
And not even anywhere close to Presque Isle.
No, but they had the reunion in Presque Isle.
Why?
Because so they have it at different colleges all over the state so everybody can go, which was really interesting to me because they shipped people from that area down to Bowdoin College. So like they had one over at like UMaine Fort Kent. There are people from Fort Kent over at Bowdoin College. I don't know why. Like
I would never for any reason go to UMaine Fort Kent.
Yeah. So
unless I was taking a plane.
I went to the Bowdoin College one, but they decided for whatever reason, you know, they should have just had it at friggin' Orono because it was more centrally located. But we were all going to Presque Isle this year. So we all went in like a travel van, and somewhere after Bangor, I fell asleep in the car, which was probably the best thing that could have ever happened to me. Because that was a really long drive. I don't do well on drives that I'm not driving.
Yeah, I have to be riding shotgun.
I have to either be shotgun or I need to drive because if not, I'm going to puke everywhere.
Yeah.
So it was very good for everybody.
Was this on a bus or?
It was a travel van.
Oh, okay.
So, and every seat was taken.
Wonderful.
So, I wake up and I'm in potato fields. That is a real thing. So
you wake up in Idaho is what you're telling me?
Yeah. Like when they talk about the potatoes and stuff up there, they're being real about it. They're like, when you drive by places here and like you have some grass or whatever, no, it's just potato fields everywhere, all over. And then there was like these weird sculptures of like the solar system all over town.
Oh my God.
Which was okay, but it was like in potato fields. So yeah, I mean, I have nothing really special to say about that other than it was a horrible drive.
I have a couple things to say. First of all, this wedding that's in Presque Isle, I can't remember where he said the ceremony is taking place, but the reception is taking place at UMaine Presque Isle, which is the most pathetic thing I think I've ever heard. Like, not necessarily that you're having your wedding reception at a college, but that you want to, because this person's not from Presque Isle, you want to take your wedding to Presque Isle, away from all of your family, and you want to have the reception at their dinky little college.
I know of a way worse wedding reception location.
Go on.
When I was supposed to get married.
Are we going to go into this?
Down the Saco River.
I mean, I have a feeling this wasn't your idea.
No, it was absolutely not my idea.
I don't understand people who like to go down the Saco River. I went down the Saco River once with my family. It really sucked. It was just a bunch of people in their 40s getting absolutely wasted, going down on kayaks, floats, canoes, what have you, and people literally shitting in the water. I watched literal shit like float past me, and then there's like spots where you can like like sandbars you can dock on the side where people like make campfires that probably isn't legal and they drink. And there's like flattened shit everywhere. There was shit everywhere. Why is this fun? I don't see why this is fun. Like, I can understand why getting drunk is fun. There are so many things I would rather be doing drunk than floating down the goddamn Saco River. Like, why is this a thing?
Okay, so I'll speak from someone who's been for the last 4 years down the Saco River.
Begrudgingly or willingly?
So, half and half. Once you get going, and depending on the time of year you go, it isn't terrible. So, my group would always go at the end of August. It was a little quieter then.
I think I went mid-July.
Yeah, that's when the crazies are there.
Okay.
So it's a little bit more quiet. Relatively. You still got like whole like fraternities being nuts and just ugh.
Yeah.
So we would go on pool floats. There was a lot about it logistically with the person who had planned it that made it very undesirable, like the first hour or so.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
You need to choke up on that mic more. I'm overpowering you.
Are you overpowering me?
That's what it looks like.
It's
there.
like right down my throat, basically.
Okay. Well,
okay.
now it is.
Yeah.
I mean, you can back off like a tiny bit.
Okay.
There, I think you're good.
So, like, normally what would happen is we would camp overnight on a Friday.
Camp where exactly?
At Canal Bridge Campground, which is this like rinky-dink, awful campgrounds midway down the river.
Okay.
And that was the stop point. So this person would have everybody who wasn't camping out Friday night meet us in Bridgeton at the Hannaford there for 10 o'clock or 9 o'clock because we wanted to be on the river at 10, and that never happened because everyone was always late. So to do this, if you're not familiar with the area, we're starting in Freiburg, which is like right bordering New Hampshire. We're now backtracking 45-ish minutes to get to Bridgeton to meet people who then want to buy things over at the Hannaford.
Why? I've been to that Bridgeton Hannaford. It's nothing to write home about unless you like beer.
Yeah.
They have a good beer section.
But yeah, so this is the plan, and it was their plan. So then we had to like caravan with these people down to Swans Falls campground, which is right next to like the Freiburg Fair and is the start point of a of your float trip. So normally there, what we would do is we would unload, and then they would ferry the cars back to the campground and then take one over, so they'd only have to pay 1 fee to leave a car, which is reasonable because it's like $10. And then it basically is like this big waiting game of people to get back, blowing up floats that are really just too big. So now you're wasting like an hour waiting around and you're getting pissed. And we were never on the river at 10. So then once you do get on the river, it can be kind of fun and relaxing. If there's enough water.
There's not enough water sometimes.
Right. So last year was like the exception. We had a really heavy rain and we made it from point A to point B in like record time. We were only on the river for like 3.5 hours before we got back. There was a year, I think it was the year before, that was a very dry summer. It was well over 8 hours or more until we made it back to the campground.
Sounds miserable. It
was terrible. Like none of us knew where we were, because everything looked like the next bend to the campground, because like the geography of like the landscape was completely changed because the river was like all like grounded out. It didn't look like how it had in previous years. I mean, if you hit the bridge, you've gone too far, but still, there are many areas where we had to like get up and walk with our floats and pick the canoe up. And the Saco River isn't really great on your feet. Like I think I ended up like with like all cut up bloody feet at the end of that one. And there's broken beer bottles in the water.
Yes. Get a tetanus shot after.
Yeah, it was so bad. I think I like lost a toenail. It was that year was miserable and it was freezing. I remember I woke up one morning and it was like 32 degrees.
I probably would have gotten tested for hepatitis afterwards.
Yeah, it was pretty terrible. So
I'm not going to knock camping either, but I have my opinions on camping as I've done it a million times, but this seems like a very terrible place to camp.
So it really is. So the reason why it is, this particular campground, first off, it was like managed by this guy we called the Park Narc.
The Park Narc?
Yeah. He like hated our group of people, even though we were probably the quietest there. And he was just this like old nasty guy who just like was always in a cloud of like weed smoke with his like old ugly wife.
No narcs smoke weed, but maybe that's different in 2019.
We called him the Park Narc because he wouldn't leave us alone.
Oh, I see.
So he was terrible. I wrote a really like bad review about him on their Facebook page. That maybe I'll read one day. I don't know. But
I mean, maybe he hated your group because the person planning it's fucking insufferable from the sounds of it.
That's possibly true. Mm-hmm. That's quite possibly true.
I mean, based on what this sounds like, the person that like put this together is a trifling human being and would have a better served existence falling into a Vietnamese spike trap. Anyways, continue.
I'm dying. Anyway, so yeah, I mean, there's parts of it that are
me, Yergy.
There's parts of it that are actually like fun when you're on the river in good weather. But the minute it gets cold, the minute there's not enough water, it's just miserable. Mm-hmm. One of the worst parts about last year was we got this float that it was like 10 feet tall. It was this giant ass fucking flamingo or peacock or something. It was a peacock.
I think I remember seeing pictures of this on your Facebook.
Yeah. The problem with it was it was very heavy. Like it took many of us to carry it. So we finally got to the end point at the beach. One of like this dumb girl that was there who drove me insane the entire weekend decided to open up all of the little ports and then jump on it to try to like deflate it, but she was in the water, so it started taking on water inside of the float. And this was a very expensive float.
Oh my god. Okay, I need to know. Okay, so listen, I would be so down to ride this float, but not in this circumstance. How much was this float?
It was under $200. I think it was somewhere like around like 150, 160.
Were you renting it or?
No. So this really cool lady that used to come with us every single year, she bought it and then like gifted it to us. Oh, she's so freaking cool.
That is pretty cool. I hope she got it back afterwards.
No, she like did gift it to the organizer.
Because I was going to say, where is this now? Because I would like to use this peacock float for better purposes. This peacock float is on
Bretton's Pond, unfortunately.
Okay, well, how far away is that?
That would be in Livermore.
I never want to go into Livermore if I can help it. Anyway, okay, yeah, you were saying I won't threaten the peacock. Continue.
Although she did get, I think, like some sort of swan this year. That was like way better than the peacock.
Oh yeah.
And the great thing about the peacock was it was so big and we had so many people tied off of this thing. We looked imposing coming down the river. Like if we stopped in the river, it like caused like a backup.
I'd have to see that, but it does sound cool in theory. I'll give you that.
Yeah. I mean, so that's really all I have to say about the Saco River. Usually 2 to 3 people die on it every year.
Yep, that is something.
And I don't
happens.
know how you do that.
No, I'm surprised more people don't die with the amount of alcohol intoxication, just the sheer like dumbassery that goes on. Like, I would think that God would be erasing more of these mistakes from the earth through Mother Nature. But anyways,
Drewby, I in my past was a pretty heavy drinker, and I still didn't die.
Yes, but that's because you're not an idiot, and I'm sure you weren't trying to cause chaos and pandemonium or just sheer wanton destruction going down that river.
No, I was just like a happy little dwarf.
Yeah, there you go. I'm not knocking people that like to, have the occasional bender or like to have fun on alcohol. I'm knocking people that just like...
I did have to crawl around the sandbar a little bit.
I'm okay. It's somebody that tells me that they can handle their liquor and don't get drunk, but she has to crawl around the sandbar.
Okay, so I told you that I could handle my liquor. I can handle my liquor. Okay.
I was doing butt shots, okay, Drewby?
We have to talk a little bit about what was brought
I had to get an IV put into me with saline so I could sober up.
So, you know those like big Gatorade buckets they have at like softball games?
Yes, my friend used to mix Everclear in it, and he would just start first period with it, and then by fourth period he was absolutely fucking gone.
No. I'm talking about like the big orange one that like fits 5 gallons.
Oh, okay, yes. Now I do.
So
Sorry.
we had one of those that we'd put into a canoe, which the canoe was only there to hold that bucket. And like some of our things, like no one rode in the canoe.
Okay.
But that bucket had like several gallons of like vodka in it, and like sometimes there was tequila, sometimes there was white rum. It was just like this whole big like melting pot of every alcohol ever.
So it was almost like maybe, I don't know if Scorpion Bowl is the right word, but basically you just dump a bunch of hard liquor into
I
this
think
one thing.
there was like 151, so it was almost like a Scorpion Bowl.
Okay.
We just called it like a jungle juice or something, and then we'd put Hawaiian punch in.
Pussies.
So it was pretty strong.
Supposed to be pure alcohol.
Well, whatever. You have to kind of enjoy it a little bit.
There's nothing enjoyable about any of that. Anyway,
so
continue.
it was very strong. So halfway in, I was crawling around the sandbar. The same thing would happen to you.
Well, the same thing wouldn't happen to me because I wouldn't,
you wouldn't be on the Saco.
I wouldn't be on the Saco, and I wouldn't be putting myself in a shitty situation or drinking liquor like that.
Right. So, like, I don't even know how we got on this topic. There was an interesting, like, article, though, in the Sun Journal recently where, like, game wardens had to, like, rescue some lady on the Saco.
Oh, yeah?
Already, because there was almost a fatality.
No.
Because
that's unfortunate. There wasn't.
Her kayak capsized.
Oh.
And her party left without her.
I'm not surprised. Was she stupid enough to bring one of those ocean kayaks on where if it flips over, you're strapped in?
I have no idea.
And she's like dragging her head off all the rocks and broken glass and human shit that's on the bottom of the Saco River and just asphyxiating on everything.
They found her passed out without her kayak on a sandbar in a bikini in the middle of the night.
Hey, it sounds like what happened to you.
Yeah.
So you're drunk crawling around on a sandbar. How does one come back from this? Because in my mind, when you reach that point, you can't complete the journey unless somebody straps you to the float.
So no, I just had some water, had a little lunch, sat up, I was okay.
Jesus. I just had to crawl around for a bit, but then once I had my nourishment,
yeah, I was fine.
I was totally...
I didn't have any breakfast or anything, so I was just consuming the straight alcohol.
Oh boy, nothing like drinking your breakfast. I remember those days in college. I remember getting woken up and somebody had Malibu and pineapple juice, and that's one of the better breakfasts I've ever had. Yes, nothing like being hungover from day drinking, going into work at night for 5 p.m. Those were the days, anyways. But I wasn't going down a river. I was in a more controlled environment. But continue. Yes, you can continue your story.
I mean, that's really, really it. I mean, I don't know how we got on the topic of the Saco River. Oh, yes, because my shitty wedding I was going to have.
Oh, yes, on the Saco River.
On the Saco River.
You're I just picture you floating down the Saco River, and you're in some weird bathing suit / a wedding gown, and they're playing concession music from the boombox, and the pastor is reading the whatever, and you're about to say I do, and you fall over backwards and just slam your head into the bottom of the Saco River
and die.
Which is honestly what a person should do instead of getting married on the Saco River. Let's be real here.
Let's be really honest here.
Let's be
take
clear.
A deep dive.
let's take a really deep dive into life choices.
Into the Saco River.
Into the Saco River. This is. You mentioned that somebody got a swan, so you almost went this year. Is that what is that what that is implying?
Yeah. So the event usually gets made 6 months ahead of time.
Was this supposed to be your wedding this year, or
no? It was supposed to be last year.
It was supposed to be last year. Okay.
Or the year before.
Or the year before.
I don't remember.
It all blends into one.
Blends to one.
Yes.
In which time? It was
Oh,
a different, it was a different time from the alleged wedding
there
dress.
was multiple. I see. Okay, so that wedding dress is from the first time, and then the getting married down the Saco River, and what was supposed to be your dress that time?
I don't know. It was possible that was still going to be worn, but at the same time,
While floating.
Where do you change into that or out of that?
I mean, yeah, I guess you don't, but I don't know. I don't know the intricacies of a redneck wedding, so you'll have to.
And I'm not even like a redneck, so that's the greatest part.
Well, I know you're not, but like I figured you would have a traditional, like, more goth wedding, like get married in a cemetery or some shit.
I did want to do that. That was suggested. I brought that up. I wanted to go get married at fucking Evergreen in the little chapel there.
Yes, I was thinking that exact spot.
And it was, no, Jessica, you can't do that.
Well, clearly.
Because that's a stupid idea.
Then clearly you're engaged to the wrong person.
Yeah, I was.
I mean, like, these are obvious things, people. Like, I don't know. So what was, I just need to know, like, for the one that was planned this year, was there anything going to be different than the fiasco you just described to me? Like, does it change every year somewhat, or is it the same?
No, there wasn't one planned for this year.
Oh, I thought you said it's like planned like 6 months in advance. So.
Oh, I thought you were talking about my wedding. No.
I
wasn't planning a wedding every year.
I meant the Saco. Well, it sounds like it.
It sounded
actually.
like it.
I mean,
my God.
Jesus Christ. I mean, one failed one wasn't enough. Okay, I'm sorry. The Saco River float that was planned this year.
Yes. It was the same shit show.
So really, just every year, just repeating the same old like bullshit. I don't even understand how this is even.
Yeah.
How this is even fucking a thing. God
so
fucking
the thing about it is I wouldn't mind going to one.
Uh-huh.
If it wasn't like that. I don't like camping there. There's no need of it. There's no need of it. Even if you're having a few drinks, don't get all fucking sloshed. Just do a little day drinking and go home.
Well, also, like, if you're camping in some situation like that under those circumstances, there's no way you're going to get a good night's sleep. You're going to feel like shit the next day.
No, and they're so loud. So Canal Bridge is one of the campgrounds.
Uh-huh.
Just down the river, there's another one called Fiddlehead, and that's where all the partiers go.
Uh-huh.
There's campsites all over the beach, and they go all night. Then you have to contend with all the people who are now camping on the sandbar. Which
should be illegal.
Right. One year we went and some person brought like DJ equipment and speakers and a generator and had some like basically rave on a sandbar.
You know, I went to a bunch of raves at Bates like back in the day, but if I was spending the night there because of poor choices that I backed into somehow and somebody was making a rave with DJ equipment, I would just strap myself with anything that I could find that was explosive and just take everyone with me.
You know, I ended up when I lived on College Street in a situation like that.
Where you were going to suicide bomb a bunch of people?
So what was it? Back at that place you and I used to work at, I had this really cool boss who was from the Philippines.
Yes, I know exactly who you're talking about.
Yes, and I'm still Facebook friends with her. I miss her. She had come down one time, and we used to party a lot at her hotel. So she was at the Marriott this particular time. And
where the hell is the Marriott? Because when you say the Marriott, I think of the new one they just built in Auburn near the Walmart.
Yes, that is it.
That couldn't have existed then.
Yes, it is.
Was it like just built? Okay. Wow. It feels like it's only been there for like 6 years. My God.
Yeah, it was at least like 10 years ago or more.
Okay.
But she I ended up like leaving her place from like it was, I don't know, like 2 a.m, 3 a.m, and my co-supervisor was with me.
Uh-huh.
And he was fucking blitzed. He was so bad. He kept trying to like pickpocket me. Because he thought he was like a rogue or something.
Oh my goodness.
And at the time I was like a smoker. So he kept pickpocketing me and stealing cigarettes and putting them over his ear because he was going to try to pick up chicks that way, even though he wasn't a smoker.
Oh my fucking goodness.
And that was what he was telling me. So
Remind me to tell me who this was afterwards.
Oh, you know who it was.
I'm sure I do, but I want it confirmed after.
It was the gentleman that everyone thought I was romantically linked with.
There's several of those.
Oh, Jesus Christ, Drewby. So anyway, I went and dropped him off over on North Bardwell Street where he was living. And we could hear that there was some sort of rave going on at Bates. And I was like, no, you need to go to bed. And what's he do? He looks at me, grabs my purse, and fucking runs down the road to Bates.
Oh my God. If this is the dude I was thinking of, he's very quiet and like put together at work, but he seems like a...
Fucking all the way down the road.
I might have been at said rave too.
I had to chase him down the road to get my purse back. And then I was like, fuck you, I'm going to bed. And it was like almost daylight at this point. So I get in my room, I go to bed, and then my phone starts going off like crazy, and it's him. And I don't remember what it was, but he needed to like have a heart-to-heart with me.
Oh God, one of those like the sun's coming up, you're on that cycle of drunk where you're like starting to sober up and get into hangover territory, but you're just like really emotional and need to talk about your feelings with whoever will listen.
Yeah. I wish I remember the conversation, but like it was really meaningful, I guess. I don't know.
Oh, Yergy, I'm so drunkenly in love with you.
I think it was something like that. I don't know.
Was it really?
Although, like, he really wasn't in real life in sober life.
See, this is okay. I need to fucking, like, talk about something. All these people, so I was straight edge for a very long time. I never got drunk. Growing up in the situation that I did and the things that I saw, I thought that if you were drunk, that you were this completely different person, completely different mindset, no control over yourself whatsoever. So in my mid-20s, when I got drunk for the very first time, I was shocked and appalled to find out there was no fucking difference. I was still myself, same morals, same priorities, same thought process, just I'm a little bit gigglier and cuddlier. That's it. So all these fucking people that tell me, oh, I just really like to fight when I'm drunk, but it's not really me, or I just, I cheated on you, but I was drunk, so it's obviously not me, or I'm just this completely different person when I'm drunk. Fuck you. Fuck you. Go jump out of a fucking window. That's not actual advice. This is alleged advice. I'm not actually advocating suicide. I'm just metaphorically saying kill yourself because you are a type of person that can't take fucking responsibility for who you are. Like it is very apparent that a drunk person's words is a sober person's thoughts. It's the same fucking thing. It's the same fucking thing, and I'm so sick of people that use this as an excuse. And I was like I was kind of like ashamed that I was like betraying myself for getting drunk that first time, but it was very enlightening because I learned just how full of shit most people are because they don't want to fucking face themselves, and this is their little excuse that they can act like fuck asses because I'm drunk. It means I can be a piece of shit. Anyway.
Oh, Drewby. So maybe this person was like in love with me. Who knows?
Probably madly. I mean, I've had those situations where like somebody only like tells me that like, you know, they think I'm amazing when they're drunk, and in those situations, well, prior to that, I would just be like, oh, they're drunk, so therefore they're in a completely different state of mind. Afterwards, my response to that is, okay, I'm just going to humor them, and I am not going to speak a word of this until when they're sober, because they should have the balls to tell me when they're sober. And if they don't, fuck them, pussy.
Yeah, this person didn't like me because I was too fat and I smoked.
Oh, that's what they told you?
Yeah.
So when drunk, madly in love, but when sober, you know, you're just too fat and you smoke.
Yeah.
But if you didn't do those things, by God, I'd stick it in you.
Oh, probably. That's what a lot of people said. But anyway.
A lot of people said, oh, Yergy, if you just quit smoking, I would just fucking pork you.
Well, no, a lot of people didn't care about that, but everyone was like, I'm not going to get into this, though. That's part of our body positivity episode.
Yes, okay, yeah. That's going to be... That's little foreshadowing, but that's something that's in the works right now.
Right. So, is there anything else you'd like to talk about, Drewby? Since I put together so many topic ideas and we just kind of went crazy.
Yeah, we're like 45 minutes, and I think this is probably almost like a good time to stop this, but I really feel as if, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what to say. Like, there's that girl that threw herself out of the plane over Madagascar, and it sounded like she was having like anti-malarial like psychosis from the drug use. But
Is that
sounds
a
pretty.
thing?
So, I mean, yeah. If you supposedly now, I'm not a pharmacist or any background in that thing. There's a word for it, but anyways, I'm not a pharmacist, but I have heard that there has been some reported case that if you take anti-malaria drugs, you can have a psychotic episode. And apparently this girl was having like attacks of paranoia, they called it, before leaving Madagascar. And on one of the last conversations with her mother, she was saying, "Me plane home." I don't know why like they would allow somebody to just fly without, a lot of supervision, but she apparently, when up in the air, yanked the plane door open and silently just tried to jump out while two people were trying to restrain her. And this is a small girl, by the way. And so a grown man bigger than her and another lady were trying to like pull her back in, and she stayed silent the entire time. And they could not pull her back in, and she flung herself into her death. And I don't know. That sounds like Eldritch God's strength.
Right.
I just think you're imbued by powers of Cthulhu to thrust yourself into the void. That's just what it sounded like to me. Anyway, I don't know. The only other thing is like our hometown is being wonderful again, and one of the major hospitals here, and I can name it because this is public record now, St. Mary's, one of the two major hospitals in Lewiston, Auburn, just laid off 68 people?
I think it was closer to like 78.
Was it 78 people? Yeah.
Yeah.
So the problem with 78 without placement. So this is something I have familiarity with because I work in this field. These are medical billers and medical coders, and what's going on in the world now is it's becoming cheaper for hospitals to completely outsource their coding departments, but now they're starting to do it with their billing departments too. And what you can do is just pay a flat rate to a contracting company that you give your books to, and they take care of it instead of paying a bunch of individual people's salaries and whatnot. So this is money that's going out of state. I imagine it usually is. And
Or
all
out of the
these
country.
or out of the country, and all of these people will be laid off in some way. I think some of them are getting severance. I read some of them will have outplacement services, whatever that means. I don't have a whole lot of faith in that, but here's what I know about coders. If you have remote experience, these people could very well find jobs. If they don't, it's going to be a lot tougher because medical coding is a very competitive field. If you're thinking about getting into medical coding, you probably shouldn't. Because you'll get out of college, you could get a number of certifications and no one will hire you because you don't have experience. Now, if you're a biller, I don't know where these people are going to go. You usually can't do billing from home. Oh yeah, you did tell me. But do they have billers there? That's just support reps.
It's support reps, but there's other, so the place that I recently interviewed for, I haven't heard back from them yet, and it's scaring me.
Scare me too, because it sounded like a great place for you.
Right, and it's scaring me because I don't know if that's where these people are sort of already in this field, so to speak. Are they now going to take precedence over me, and are they just going to, fill up with them? So, so it just worries me. I don't know. Maybe I'm being paranoid.
I don't know, but what I do know is we just got a message saying we have low disk space. So I think we should probably wrap this up.
Yeah, we should.
Social media will put in the description and all that. I think we're going to be going to new platforms soon.
Yep.
Right?
Yes.
And potentially a Patreon in the works. Maybe. Okay, yeah. So, yeah. I guess that's it.
Guess this is it.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.